For today, we're going to talk about the themes in peace studies. But firstly, what is peace studies? It is the inter, multi, or transdisciplinary discipline, and it also incorporates insights from field. Peace studies offer insights into conflict resolution, social justice, human rights, and sustainable development. This report aims to discuss about the key themes, methodologies, and contemporary issues within the realm of peace studies, shedding light on its own relevance and transformative potential, and fostering a more equitable and peaceful world. Peace studies is also the goal is to understand the root causes of violence and conflict, develop strategies for conflict prevention and resolution, and also to foster conditions conducive to sustainable peace. Peace studies is a field of study that looks at ways to prevent fights and wars. It explores how people can solve conflicts peacefully, promote understanding among different groups, and create more harmonious world.
Hilary Glynn, and I am going now to tackle the history of peace studies in the year 1950s to 1970s. So the first is the formation of peace research institutes. This saw the emergence of peace research institute in response to the heightened global tensions of the Cold War. Scholars and activists sought to understand and address the root causes of conflicts. Notable examples include the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, founded in 1966, reflecting a growing interest in studying arms races and promoting disarmament should play a crucial role in fostering dialogue and research to promote peace and prevent conflicts during a tumultuous period in international relations. Peace research gained momentum and also focused on studying the causes of war and ways to achieve peace, because it is Vietnam War and anti-war movements. This era saw increased academic interest in the study of conflict, peace, and non-violent resistance, because in academic interest regarding the study of conflict, peace, and non-violent resistance, the turbulent events of the time, including the Vietnam War and various social movements, prompted scholars to delve into understanding the dynamics of conflict and exploring alternative paths to peace. Next is formulation of peace studies program. Gained momentum later, particularly in 1970s and beyond the 1950s and 1960s, did lay the groundwork for this development. During this period, there was a growing recognition within academic circles of the need to systematically study peace, conflict resolution, and international relations. This eventually led to the establishment of formal peace studies programs in universities and institutions as a response to the demand for structured education and research in these areas. So that's year 1950s to 1970s era.
Next is expansion and interdisciplinarity. So expansion and interdisciplinarity refers to the broadening of knowledge and the collaboration between the different academic disciplines. The next is Peace Studies Program expanded globally, embracing an interdisciplinary approach. So embracing an interdisciplinary approach in a global peace studies program can contribute to a more holistic understanding of complex issues and foster collaboration across various fields. So next is the post-Cold War era. So the post-Cold War era is the tension between the United Nations and the Soviet Union. So it is a period of history that follows the end of the Cold War, which represents the history after the dissolution of Soviet Union in December 1991. So next is peace studies evolve to address new challenges. So peace studies continually adapt to address emerging challenges by exploring innovative conflict resolution strategies, promoting cross-cultural understanding, and integrating technology for effective communication in a globalized world. So next, the focus expanded to include issues like environmental sustainability and social justice in peace studies in 1980 to 1990. So yes, during the 1980 to 1990, peace studies broadened its focus to incorporate concerns such as environmental sustainability and social justice, reflecting a recognition of interconnected global challenges.
Good day, so this is the continuation of our reporting and I'm going to discuss about the themes in peace studies and its examples. So what is themes in peace studies? So it focuses and helping students identify what different types of violence exist in all of its forms, direct, structural, cultural, and how different people define peace. So what is the purpose of peace studies? So the field of peace studies recognizes that conflict is inherent in the human behaviors and seek to harness conflict through nonviolent means and reduces violence and transforms societies. There are 9 examples of themes in peace studies and I'm going to discuss the 4 of those. The first one is conflict resolution and mediation. The second one is peace building and reconstruction. The third is human rights and social justice. And the fourth one is nonviolent resistance. So now I'm going to explain the first example, which is the conflict resolution and mediation. So mostly of the people says that the common ways of dealing conflict is to avoid it. So in having a conflict, there is a person who is denial. So the denial is one of the most common problem when it comes to resolving conflict. So conflict exists when one person has a need to another and that need is not being met. So that is the usual problem in having a conflict. We have 2 resolutions of conflict. So the first one is express the need and the second one is find out if the need can or cannot be met. So if the need can be met, so then we have the resolution. But no, if no, we need to negotiate or resolve the conflict or going to management of conflict. But if the conflict is hard or tough to handle or we are in the sensitive or serious thinking, so this is the time that we need to involve the neutral third party, which is the mediator, who can help us out with that situation or conflict. Next is the peace building and reconstruction. So what is peace building? So peace building is an evolving, multidimensional, elastic concept and practice that encompasses multiple perspectives and goals. So the term peace building is first introduced by Johan Galtung in 1976. So the concept gained a prominence in the transforming security landscape of post-Cold War era. So post-conflict reconstruction became one of the central elements of post-conflict peace building. So now I'm going to explain the third example, which is the human rights and social justice. So what are this? So both social justice and human rights shared a common goal, which is the equality for all. So the human rights approach also holds governments accountable to treaties and laws they've committed to. And the social justice is vague and not present in international law, while the human rights is much better defined. These two are important because they recognize our freedom to make our choices about our lives and to develop our potential as human beings. Now I'm going to discuss the fourth example, which is the nonviolent resistance. So nonviolent resistance, or the nonviolent action, sometimes called civil resistance, it is the practice of achieving goals such as social change through symbolic protest, civil disobedience, and economic or political non-cooperation. So the main goal of nonviolent resistance is not to defeat anyone, but to create friendship and understanding. And there is an example of nonviolent resistance, which is the tactics include protests, boycotts, sit-ins, civil disobedience, and alternative institutions. So, the other 5 examples of themes in peace studies is to be discussed by my co-reporter, which is Kathleen Caminade.
So the continuation of the examples of the themes of peace studies, so international relations and diplomacy. It encompasses the interactions between countries on various issues ranging from politics and economics to culture and security. Diplomacy serves as a tool for negotiating and maintaining relationships between nations, often involving diplomats, treaties, negotiations, and international organizations. So here are a few examples of the international relations and diplomacy. So first is United Nations. The UN serves as a platform for diplomacy where nations convene to discuss global issues, pass resolutions, and engage in diplomatic relations to address international challenges like climate change, peacekeeping, and humanitarian aid. Second is cultural exchange programs, initiatives where countries promote cultural understanding through exchanges of art, education, and other cultural elements to foster goodwill and mutual understanding. Third, summit meetings, high-level meetings between heads of state or government officials where all leaders discuss about the global issues and foster bilateral relations. So next is gender and peace. So gender and peace focus on the intersection between gender dynamics and the pursuit of peace, particularly within conflict zones or areas undergoing post-conflict construction. It involves understanding how gender roles, identities, and power relations influence peace and conflict processes. So here are a few points illustrating this connection. So first is addressing gender-based violence. Conflicts often exacerbates gender-based violence. Gender and peace initiatives aims to address and prevent violence against women, men, and non-binary individuals both during and after conflicts. Second is women's empowerment. Empowering women and marginalized genders is central to this field. It involves promoting their rights, access to resources, education, and economic opportunities as a means of fostering peaceful societies. Third is understanding masculinities. It also involves examining traditional notions of masculinity and how they impact conflicts and peace. This understanding helps in promoting positive and non-violent forms of masculinity. Next in line is the ethics of peace. The ethics of peace refers to a set of moral principles, values, and guiding beliefs that inform and shape actions, decisions, and behaviors aimed at achieving, preserving, and sustaining peace. It encompasses a moral framework that underpins the pursuit of peace, emphasizing certain ethical considerations and practices. Some examples are first is non-violent resistance movements. For instance, leaders like Mahatma Gandhi in India, Martin Luther King Jr. in the United States, and Nelson Mandela in South Africa employed non-violent strategies to fight against injustice and oppression. Their movements were grounded in the ethics of peace and emphasizing non-violence, justice, and reconciliation. Second example is Truth and Reconciliation Commissions. In post-conflict societies such as South Africa, Rwanda, and Guatemala, Truth and Reconciliation Commissions were established to address past atrocities. These commissions aim to uncover the truth, promote accountability, and foster reconciliation based on ethical principles of acknowledging past wrongs and working towards healing and forgiveness. Third example is conflict resolution through dialogues. various peace process around the world, such as the Oslo Accords between Israel and Palestine or the Good Friday Agreement in Northern Ireland, were founded on the principles of dialogue, negotiation, and compromises. These agreements sought to resolve conflicts peacefully, prioritizing the well-being and rights of all involved parties. Fourth example is the humanitarian aid and assistance. The last example of ethics and peace. Ethical considerations in providing humanitarian aid to conflict-affected regions emphasize impartiality, neutrality, and the principle of helping those in need. Organizations like the International Committee of the Red Cross or ICRC operates based on these ethics, providing assistance to victims of conflict without discrimination. So the another example of themes of peace studies is the media and peace. It refers to the relationship between media activities and their impact on peace building, conflict prevention, and resolution efforts. It encompasses the role of various media platforms, including the traditional outlets like the newspapers, television, and radio, as well as digital and social media, and contributing to peace or exacerbating conflicts. So here are some examples that showcase the relationship between media and peace. So first is documentaries and films. So the documentaries and films often shed light on conflict and peace-building efforts, raising awareness and encouraging empathy. For instance, the documentaries like The Fog of War or films like Hotel Rwanda bring attention to historical conflicts and their impact, fostering discussion on peace and reconciliation. Second is social media campaigns for peace. So social media platforms are used for peace advocacy and activism. So for instance, the International Day of Peace that it gains a lot of attention, that encourages discussions about the action of peace. So third is the peace building apps and platforms. So there are a lot of various digital platforms and mobile apps that develops to facilitate peace building efforts. Apps like the Ushahidi that used in conflict areas for crisis mapping and communication contribute to conflict resolution and aid delivery. Fourth is the role of international media coverage. Is responsible international media coverage that can influence peace processes. For example, the global coverage of the Oslo Accords between Israel and Palestine in the 1990s helped in drawing international attention and support for the peace process. Lastly, the example of themes of peace and studies is education for peace. Education for peace refers to the approach to learning that aims to cultivate the knowledge, skills, and attitudes and values necessary to prevent conflicts, that promotes understanding and foster a culture of peace. It encompasses formal and informal education practices designed to instill principles of peace, nonviolence, conflict resolution, and social justice, among individuals and communities. So some examples that illustrates how education can be used for peace. So first is the peace education programs. It is a curricular or extracurricular programs specifically designed to teach conflict resolution, mediation, and peace building skills. These can be integrated into school curricula or offered as workshops and seminars. Second is the human rights education. Initiatives that educate students and communities about human rights principles, promoting respect for fundamental rights and freedoms. Organizations like the Amnesty International offer educational resources on human rights. Third is the global citizenship education. Curricula that teach about global issues, interconnectedness, and the importance of civic engagement on global challenges like climate change, poverty, and conflict prevention. Fourth is the media literacy for peace. Educational programs that teach critical thinking about media representations of conflicts, helping individuals discern biases, avoid misinformations, and understand the role of media in shaping perceptions. Fifth is the youth fifth is the youth leadership and empowerment. Initiatives that empower young people to take active roles in peace building, providing them with leadership skills, opportunities for civic engagement, and platforms to address social issues. So, six is school-based peace clubs, student-led clubs or organizations within schools that focus on promoting peace, tolerance, and conflict resolution. These clubs often organize activities, discussions, and awareness campaigns with school communities with the help of the head of the school. So that sums up my report about the examples of themes of peace studies.
Why is peace studies important? Because it provides valuable insights and tools for understanding, preventing, and resolving conflicts in our increasingly interconnected world. Peace studies involve learning about why conflicts happen, how they can be stopped, and ways to create lasting peace. It's about understanding different issues like politics, culture, and economics to find peaceful solutions that make the world a better, safer place for everyone.
So, okay, let's proceed to the reason of themes in peace studies. So, we have conflict prevention. It involves implementing strategies and measures to mitigate or avoid the emergence or escalation of conflicts between individuals, groups, or nations. It often includes diplomatic efforts, dialogue, mediation, promoting understanding, addressing root causes, and fostering cooperation to maintain peace and stability. So, the next one is conflict resolution. It involves addressing and mitigating disagreements or disputes between individuals or groups in a constructive manner. It often includes active listening, understanding different perspectives, finding common ground, and seeking solutions that benefit all parties involved. Communication, empathy, and compromise are key components in resolving conflicts effectively. So the next is humanitarian values revolve around compassion, empathy, and the belief in the inherent dignity and worth of every human being. They emphasize the importance of alleviating suffering, promoting human rights, and providing aid to those in need regardless of race, religion, nationality, or political affiliation. These values often underpin humanitarian efforts, guiding actions to protect and support vulnerable populations affected by crisis, disasters, and conflicts or poverty. So, the next is global stability. It is a complex concept that often refers to the overall security, economic strength, political harmony, and social well-being across the world. It involves the absence of complex economic vulnerability, social unrest, and the presence of institutions that support cooperation among nations. And the next one is sustainable development. It is where to meet present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. It's about finding a balance between economic growth, environmental protection, and social well-being for a more equitable and sustainable future.
Good day, I am Rogelio Kumaling, and I will give an additional 5 reasons why peace study is important. The first reason is cultural understanding. Cultural awareness means understanding the dynamic values and beliefs of different cultures. For better opportunities, understanding and respecting various cultures are necessary. For example, in some cultures, greetings are shown with a bow instead of handshake. The second reason is personal empowerment. It is about understanding and realizing one's full potential, taking control of one's life, and making conscious decisions to bring about positive changes. And for example, empowerment is the process of becoming more confident and prepared to make important decisions and complete tasks. The third reason is building a culture of peace. And this ethical principle applies at all levels of human endeavor: personal, family, community, and national. When honored, dignity and stability follow. When violated, instability results. And for example, respect for human rights, being safe from violence, war, and oppression is a human right. Personal, cultural, and religious freedom is a human right. The fourth reason is conflict transformation. Conflict transformations refers to the process of moving from conflict-habituated systems to peace systems. And let's say, for example, the conflict between the artist Shepard Fairey and Associated Press regarding the use of an image for the famous Obama Hope poster. And lastly, the fifth reason is educational and advocacy roles. Education advocacy is the driving force that ensures that every child has an access to the resources and support they deserve. Let's say, for example, by investing in early learning programs, we lay a strong start for a child's lifelong school success. And that's all of my part, and thank you for listening. Once again, I'm Rogelio Kumar.
Good afternoon everyone, I'm Ervin M. Linares. I will be the one to discuss about the future of peace studies. The future of peace studies involves ongoing explorations and adaptation to address contemporary challenges. It requires a dynamic and adaptive approach, integrating new perspectives, technologies, and strategies to address the evolving nature of conflict and pursue lasting peace. Peace studies must continuously evolve, responding to geopolitical shifts, technological advancements, environmental changes, and societal transformation. Embracing diverse viewpoints and leveraging innovations and technology are crucial to remaining relevant and effective in resolving conflicts and fostering sustainable peace. These qualities enable peace studies to equip individuals and organizations with tools needed to understand, prevent, and resolve conflicts in our rapidly changing world. Thank you.